right, so if I am looking at the example questions, I am just going to kind of go through the same way that I did with those other example questions. I'm going to take a look at what the question is asking. So I know that this is showing me a food web. So I'm going to highlight that. Okay, I don't care what the ecosystem is. I just know it's a food web. It's showing me who is giving its energy to whom and what's eating what. So the question is going to ask which of these organisms receives a larger percent of the energy captured by the producers, so from the producers, than the bats. So I'm going to look at my producers. Where are my plants? My plants are going to be here, here, and here. So I'm going to look at, excuse me, what is getting more energy from those producers. So if I take a look at who's eating the producers, it's going to go to the squirrel, the insects, here and here, and then this one is going to feed the deer. Okay, so the bat is all the way up here, so I know that that's in kind of the second level, so I'm just going to look specifically at what's eating the producers, what's eating the plants. So then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to take a look at what the choices are. Okay, mountain lion. Mountain lion is all the way up here. It's not directly eating the plants. It's eating a deer. Not going to be that choice because remember, I'm looking at more energy from the bats. So receives a larger percent of energy from the producers, so specifically from the plants, than the bats are. Okay, snakes. Snakes are also up here, so that's in a second level. It's not going to be my snakes. My hawks are all the way up here, and they seem to be all the way up in the third level, so it's not going to be my hawks. So what gets the energy directly from the plants and gets more of that energy than the bat over here? And the only choice that I have left is going to be my ground squirrels. Okay, number 2, a marine ecosystem is represented at the right. So marine meaning water. So all of these organisms live in the water. What is lost to the environment at each level? Okay, so what is lost to the environment at each level? I'm just going to ignore all of the other words, all the hard words, because we don't need that. Okay, and when we were talking about cellular energy from our cellular energy notes, we talked about the rule of 10%. Meaning that each of these levels, so every time you go up a level, so from the sun to the plants, get 100% of that. From here it gets 10%, 1%, 0.1, and so on and so forth. But what gets lost at each level, and this one might be really, really kind of difficult for you to think of, is going to be energy in the form of heat. So as you are breaking down your food, as plants are going through photosynthesis, there's a certain kind of amount of energy that's lost to the environment, and that one is going to be heat. Number 3, food webs such as the one shown are used in 1927 by the animal ecologist Charles Elton. The food web below represents the feeding relationships among organisms in the Alaskan ecosystem. Again, a lot of words that we don't need. Basically, all we need to know is that it's showing you a food web. Okay. An environmental change that removed which of these organisms from the ecosystem would cause the most instability? Let's define kind of what instability means, okay? Meaning what would cause everything after it to kind of crumble down or not work. So what's going to make this whole system unstable would be another kind of word that I'm looking for. And if I'm looking at what would cause the biggest change, I want to look at what kind of starts that food pyramid. So in this case, I just wrote on it. Phytoplankton would be what kind of starts that food pyramid, but that's not a choice that we have over here, okay? So what is the next one up that I could choose? Zooplankton would be the next one up. Auklets are all the way over here. Foxes are all the way up here. And salmon is kind of somewhere like in the middle. But if I take away phytoplankton or zooplankton, that's what everything else in this ecosystem eats. So if they don't have that to start the pyramid, then nothing else after is going to work. So that's why my answer here is going to be D.